Hi, lovelies. So when it comes to easy weeknight dinner recipes, supermarket shortcuts can be your best friend. Now, by supermarket shortcuts, I'm talking about pre-made ingredients, things like frozen meatballs or rotisserie chicken or jarred tomato sauce, stuff you can grab at the grocery store on your way home, throw together, and in no time flat, you've got a dish you can feel really good about. Today, I am featuring 3 delicious supermarket shortcut recipes that I think you guys are absolutely going to adore and are going to become your new go-tos on your busiest of weeknights. Starting with these incredible barbecue chicken tostadas. I think it's safe to say that when it comes to supermarket shortcuts, nothing beats a rotisserie chicken. And these amazing barbecue chicken tostadas are the perfect place to use one. Now I've just taken my chicken apart and shredded it all up in a bowl. I actually had some left over, so I'm saving that for another recipe. And I'm just going to toss it in some store-bought barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce. I just wanted to let you guys know, it's one of my favorite things. I'm just gonna toss my chicken around until it's well coated, and then we can get to work on preparing our tostadas. Now, if you're not familiar with tostada shells like these, they're essentially just tortillas that have been cooked until they're nice and crispy. If you wanted to use regular tortillas in this recipe, you definitely could do that as well. For the base of these tostadas, I'm going to be using some canned refried beans. Now, this is another supermarket shortcut that I love. Refried beans have lots of protein and fiber as well, so not only are you adding flavor, but you're adding nutrition. This particular brand of refried beans also has some mild chilies in it, so it's got a bit more flavor, which of course I love. I'm just going to use a fork to spread it on each of my tostadas. Then I am going to pile my barbecue chicken on top of that. And my last step is just going to be adding some shredded white cheddar here. A smoked Gouda I think would be amazing here as well. We're gonna get these into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 minutes. Really, everything's already cooked. We're just looking to heat everything up and get that cheese nice and melted. Now, while those are cooking away, we're going to prepare a topper for our tostadas, and I'm going to be making a ranch-style slaw. To do this, I am using another supermarket shortcut. I have got some coleslaw mix here. You can usually find this bagged in the produce aisle at your supermarket. I'm also going to be using some store-bought ranch dressing. I find the combination of ranch dressing and barbecue sauce is one of my all-time favorites, so just felt right. Then we can top this all with some of this crunchy ranch-style coleslaw. And I'm also gonna top these with a little sliced jalapeno and cilantro, and they are ready to be enjoyed. Dinner on the table in 15 minutes or less. You can't even have takeout delivered in that time. Next, for you pasta lovers out there, I am making these amazing meatball stuffed pasta shells that actually taste a lot like lasagna, but with about 1/10 of the effort. It all starts with some shells. So I'm using some large pasta shells here. I cooked them in some boiling water for about 8 minutes or so. I wanted to just undercook them because we're going to be baking this and I didn't want them falling apart while I was stuffing them with some meatballs. Now, just before we start stuffing our shells, I'm going to put a layer of tomato sauce into the bottom of my dish. This is going to add flavor and of course prevent my shells from sticking to the bottom of my dish, which is also nice when it comes to weeknight cooking. I'm using a simple jarred tomato sauce in this recipe. I'm just going to get a thin layer onto the bottom of my baking dish, and then it's time to start stuffing my shells. To do that, I am using another supermarket shortcut, these amazing frozen meatballs. You can find them in the freezer aisle at any supermarket. These are beef meatballs, but of course you could use turkey or chicken here instead if you wanted to. And I'm just going to add 2 meatballs per shell. That seems to be the perfect fit. And I'm going to nestle each of my shells in my baking dish. Now, if you've got kids in the house, this is a great job for them. They can stuff the shells and basically make this entire dish themselves, and then you just have to help with the baking part. Once I've got all those shells stuffed, I am going to top them with a little more tomato sauce because we want everything to be nice and moist. And then I'm gonna hit this with some mozzarella cheese that's been pre-shredded. Now, I will fully admit I am using pre-shredded mozzarella cheese here. If you wanna shred your own, you go right ahead. I am just in a shortcut frame of mind. Where I usually will not use a shortcut is with my Parmesan cheese. I really enjoy freshly grated Parmesan. I think it's worth the extra effort. Freshly grated just tastes the best, I think. We're gonna cover our baking dish with aluminum foil and get it into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes or so. Then you can remove the foil and let it cook up for another 5 to 10 minutes, just until that cheese is nice and bubbly and a little golden on top. I like serving them up with a sprinkle of fresh parsley, and let me tell you guys, this recipe is sure to become a new family favorite. Our team devoured the entire dish in under 10 minutes. Finally, to make a comfort food classic even simpler, I'm going to be whipping up a batch of chicken soup with some amazing gnocchi. The only chopping required in this recipe is an onion and a single clove of garlic. The rest of the recipe comes together using supermarket cheats. I've got a little bit of oil heating up in a soup pot on the stove, and as soon as that oil is nice and hot, I am going to saute my onion until it's nice and soft, about 2 or 3 minutes. Then I'll add my garlic to the pan and let that cook up for another minute or so. Then it's time to add my chicken to my pot. This is from a rotisserie chicken from the supermarket. I just chopped the rest up into little pieces. I'm gonna get that into my pot. To this, I'm going to be adding some chicken broth. I always have loads of chicken broth hanging out in my pantry. I buy it in bulk. I just think it is one of the most versatile ingredients you can have in your pantry. The longest part of the cooking process here is just waiting for your broth to come to a boil, but as soon as it's boiling, you can add the rest of your ingredients. This is fresh gnocchi that you can find in the deli aisle at your supermarket. You can also buy frozen gnocchi and use that in this recipe, but I find the fresh is a little tastier, so that's always what I use. And it's got a built-in timer, so as soon as it's cooked and ready to eat, it will start to rise to the top of your pot, and you know you can add the rest of your ingredients. I've got some frozen peas and carrots headed in here, as well as a couple handfuls of baby spinach. I'm gonna stir in some salt and some pepper and let this simmer for another, say, 2 to 3 minutes. And that's it, guys. It is ready to be enjoyed. And we just made an amazing chicken soup in under 15 minutes. There's a lot to love about that. I have to say, I had a lot of fun making this video, so if you guys want to see more videos featuring supermarket shortcuts like the ones here, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll try to come up with some new recipes for you. I hope you'll give all 3 of these tasty recipes a try. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. The full recipes, as always, are linked in the description box below. You can find them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more dinner deliciousness where this came from.